Thanks. I'm John Chesto, business editor at the Patriot Ledger in Quincy, Massachusetts. And I just was wondering if you could specify a little more what the SEC is doing to make sure those thousands of complaints and tips and leads and whistleblower calls are getting on the right desks, and maybe also talk about how you can coordinate with the resources that you have in the different regional offices and the resources that exist in what sometimes are viewed as competitive agencies in both the state and federal level to follow up on those tips. What can you just say, what have you done since taking office to address the issue of those tips and leads falling by the wayside?
I'm happy to do that. One of the first things I did was to actually try to ask the staff to give me a quick catalog of where do tips and complaints and referrals come into the agency and what do the numbers look like. They come in through, I might have the number not exactly right, but about 40 different places within the organization. And of course, there's no master database into which they're all put. They go into different systems and they're handled differently in enforcement versus the compliance and inspections group versus the Office of Individual Investor Education versus Internet Enforcement, and of course then all of our regional offices around the country. So not a great picture, not only because they may be handled inconsistently from office to office, but because they're not all resident in one place. There's no ability to mine the data and see that there's a complaint in Boston and in Chicago and in Miami, that if we put them together, we might see the beginning of something that's really important for us to be looking at. So understanding that, I hired a group called the Center for Enterprise Modernization. It's a federal contractor. It's done a lot of work for other federal agencies, building systems to manage tips and complaints and referrals. And as I said, we get, in some years, as many as 1.5 million. Last year, we had 750,000. We will never, ever be able to follow up on all of them. But if we can put in place a process that at least gives us the ability to catalog them, to track them, to understand where they've gone, and to look at ones that may be connected. It's again back to connecting the dots, then we will be more effective, I think, at handling that massive amount of information as it comes in the door. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to ask Congress for whistleblower authority. I've talked extensively with people at the IRS and at other agencies that have whistleblower authority. We need to leverage third parties where we can at the SEC, given our short staffing. If we can reward people who bring to us well thought through, pretty well formed cases where we can prosecute the case and get a sanction or a fine and then pay that whistleblower the way the IRS does for tax cheats, I'm pretty happy to do that. I think that's a good return on the money. It will help us focus on the ones where there is the highest probability that there's really a problem that we can tackle and we can resolve. It will also help us separate to some extent the 1.5 million from the 24 that are really meaningful and really have an impact. So we're working right now on what that authority might look like, how we might create it. We have it now only for insider trading cases. It has not been a very successfully used program. I think we can write a law that matches what either the IRS or others have that give us actually a pretty good chance of getting some very good and solid information. The other thing we're doing is we're sending our examiners through certified fraud training programs. Not all of them. We have about 150 signed up at this point to get a certification that will, again, help them read the tips and complaints and understand maybe with a greater sensitivity what it is being put in front of them that might actually, again, lead to a case that will have real impact, so we're not chasing thousands and thousands of leads. So multiple things going on with the consultant, with the whistleblower authority, with training of our staff, and we're going to miss things in the future. I would never guarantee that we won't. My goal is to try to increase the probability that we don't miss the next Bernie Madoff.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Before you move, I have some important announcements. First of all, remember the 4 p.m. business meeting tonight. This afternoon, there's very important business for the membership to vote on your board's recommendation that Cebu headquarters be relocated to Arizona State University. You can vote for members of the coming Board of Governors until 4 o'clock. The ballot is in your name tag. In the back of your little name tag envelope, you'll find a folded up ballot there. The box is out by registration. Please vote as instructed and put it in the box. When I say as instructed, it tells you how many people to vote for on the ballot. I don't mean that you're selling your vote. Now, I'd like to ask, while I see Mary to the door and to her plane, I would like to ask Susan Tombor and Dawn to come up and talk with you a little bit about fundraising. You knew it was coming. They're going to have a few fun ideas, and it's going to be Bill Choik kicking it off. Okay.
Thank you, Diana. My name is Bill Choik, and I'm chair of the Development Committee, and I have the very difficult challenge of asking you to support Cebu and give money right after the SEC commissioners told us how woeful our 401ks are. Couple of things. You'll have cards on the table, not all tables because we ran out of cards, but grab them, fill them out, send out for the challenge grant. The challenge grant expires August 1st. We need to raise, we're only about 30% there, but the good news is that we're all journalists and we work best under deadlines. Reminder, we'll have 2 social gatherings, May 14th in Washington and I think May 27th tentatively in New York if you're up there. Silent auction closes tonight. Please give often and give early and give a lot. I do want to thank Dawn and Susan for taking on the live and silent auction. Susan particularly has done this for 3 years and is getting off the board and deserves a real thank you, kudos for your good work.